I don't know, Ashton. I don't know if you wanted to like put your animals away for this topic, but how do
Oh
we
no,
feel
Buffy
about
has some
Kristi
things to
Noem?
say about this. I know what you're
Okay,
gonna bring up.
about
Buffy's
Kristi
very
Noem.
upset.
Did we all hear about this, Lila? Did you hear about this Kristi Noem,
Yeah.
who people think is one of Trump's potential running mates? Um, what is she? The South Dakota, North Dakota governor? What the fuck? I should really know what I'm talking about before I bring it
Some
up.
bitch is what she is. Not the
Trump
good kind.
she recently shared in a book, her book, that she, I guess, took out one of her farming dogs and just shot it because it was threatening chickens or something. Uh,
What? What?
the internet has not taken lightly to
It was
this
a
story.
14-month-old dog that they had on their yard that they were using for hunting or ranching or some sort. And by the way, she was like 32 when this happened. She wasn't young. She wasn't like a teenager or a young girl. She was 32 on her farm when she did this. It was a 14-month-old, which is, by the way, is considered a puppy still. Dogs are puppies up until they're 2. And she
Yep.
shot it because apparently the dog was a quote unquote threat to the livestock. So you keep the dog away from livestock. You don't shoot it in a pit. And her excuse was, well, in the state of South Dakota, you can shoot a dog if it's a threat to livestock. Doesn't just because you
But that
can
doesn't mean
doesn't
you
mean you
should.
should.
Mm-hmm.
You know
There's
what?
so many other things. I know so many people who live on farms who make do like, oh, you know what? My dog's not a very good herding dog. My dog's not very good with being a guard dog. We're just gonna let him lay in the
Right.
bed and kind of chill around the house. We're gonna make do because when you adopt an animal, you take in that animal as something that relies on you and loves you. You don't take it into a pit and shoot it.
Yeah,
People
you
who do
can't
those
make
kind
an
of things are
omelet without shooting
irresponsible.
a few chickens either. So, not the
You know what? It's
dog.
also
Uh,
for Christ's sake.
chickens. So what do? You keep the dog away from chickens. That's what you do. You don't shoot it in a pit. I just there's so many things that could have been done differently. And look at I understand it was 20 years ago and maybe she has some regrets about it. But it's the fact that she continues to make excuses of, oh, well, in the state of San Diego, and oh, well, he wasn't very good on the farm. It don't matter. I'm a firm believer when you take in an animal, that animal is your responsibility. If anything
yeah.
happens,
It's like a
these
person.
people are my babies. I will do whatever it takes to make sure they're fed, their medicine is paid for before myself because I made the choice to take on the responsibility of taking in 2 animals that cannot fend for themselves out in the
Mhm.
wild.
And hide their
Right.
car keys if they want to
Yes.
go back to the villages.
Do
That's
you
funny.
want to come say hi to
Yeah.
Charlotte?
Ashton explained it pretty well. She mentioned this in her upcoming book. This was a 20-year-old story, this dog Cricket, which is not pictured in this photo here.
Cricket.
It was one of the dogs that worked at her ranch. That doesn't make it better.
The dogs that worked at a ranch.
I know,
like,
it was
he
an
on the
employee.
payroll. Yeah.
South Dakota law states that dogs who attack and kill livestock can be put down, given that Cricket had shown aggressive behavior toward people by biting them. I decided what I did. Well, so whatever. I don't know. It just sounds like you need to rehab. Yeah, I would have gone for like get the fucking dog whisperer in there, rehab him.
Country life is very different from non-country life. I'm just gonna say that.
It's
y'all.
true. Nobody's out there getting a dog psychologist, I bet.
Here's the
No.
thing. I know so many people on farms who are like, you know what? This dog's not a very good guard dog. This dog's not a very people want to say, well, farm life's different than urban life. I was raised on a ranch. And if our dog was messing with the animals, we would keep them away from the animals. It's that simple. Or find a new home for them that will take care of them. Do not let that, don't shooting a dog is never the answer. Never, ever, ever the answer.
Unless you're putting, I don't know. I guess if a dog it got ran over,
It's
and half of
14
it's,
months old.
Yeah, maybe.
It's 14 months
Just a
old. Oh,
maybe.
boo-hoo, a dog was terrorizing the chickens and the cattle like dogs do.
If the dog's
Unless
in
they're
misery,
properly
you're
trained.
talking, and
Don't.
half of it got ran over by your tractor or something, and I can't even imagine that.
And mind you, this
Like,
dog was 14 months old. That's not enough time to train a dog to be a proper cattle dog. The dog needs at least a couple of years of training to do that properly. So she did not give the dog enough time. And even so, let's say the dog was acting out way too much. You still don't shoot
Also,
it in a pit.
this happened 14 years ago.
20
It was
years
like
ago.
20.
Okay,
20
slow
or
news day,
something.
apparently. Like, why were we
Right.
talking about this just now? My God, why is this in the news?
Yeah,
Weird.
and
It makes her spicy.
it does make her spicy. Lauren, do you think this is typical ranch country behavior?
I think that probably more dogs get shot in the country than you probably want to know about.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
it's
I believe
weird.
it.
I think it's weird that she like it's an interesting story to add into a book. I think she probably meant it as some sort of like, you know, like I grew up tough on her. Like animals get shot in the country. I'm sorry, they do. And
I know,
honestly,
but usually
there are a lot of
is-
very like, and I'm not necessarily talking about this dog. I think that more dogs should be shot for aggressive behavior. So I'm not the one to ask.
What about grandmas?
But it was 14 months old, Lauren. Like that's not. Like, it was probably
Again,
just being
I'm
a
not
puppy.
Kidding.
I'm not talking about necessarily this dog, but like when people
Mhm.
make excuses for like very aggressive breeds and like people get mauled to death by dogs, like that shit pisses me off. I really don't have a probably a very friendly viewpoint towards a lot of animals.
I see
in
where
this
you're coming
regard.
from, and I somewhat agree. But again, like that's very like a pit bull, you know, not being trained very well, then getting out and attacking a child is a lot different than a 14-month-old puppy, you know, getting into the chicken coop and terrorizing the chickens is a little different. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I agree with you. There could have certainly been a lot of things that could have been done. I think including this in the book at all was a very weird misread of like her target audience. Because again, this happened 20 years ago.
Right.
It could have just gone away. You know what I mean? But she decided to use it as something as like this is how rough and tumble I am. I have a lot of other issues with Noem, so I'm not really terribly upset about her getting some bad press over this. But I think that
Ooh, what do we not like about her?
Well,
I am completely neutral on her, so you're not going to ruin my opinion.
A lot of it has to do with legislation to like she's one of those, she's like Nikki Haley light in a lot of ways, like our greatest ally Israel type speak, writes legislation. There's like a population of like less than 500 Jewish people in the entirety of South Dakota, and she writes legislation to like protect like them against hate speech and stuff like that, which like isn't even a thing in my opinion.
So you
so like
she's a little
it delves
swampy.
into like she's very swampy. She's very like our greatest ally Israel. So I have the issues with that. So I don't really mind her having a bad press day.
Why do we say Israel is our greatest ally? Like in
Well,
like I feel like
a complicated question with a complicated answer.
I feel like we do a lot
It just
for
sounds
Israel.
good,
I
Ashton.
don't know what
No,
they do.
keep going,
for
keep
us,
going.
because no one can answer that for me. I think we give them a lot of money and we do a lot for them, but no one tells me what Israel does for us. They can never give me an answer on that, and it bothers me when people tell me that Israel is our greatest ally. But it's like, how? I think we're their greatest ally, but they can never answer how they're our greatest ally.
Keep going.
I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to like
You're not
play around. I genuinely want to know because I do not know. So if somebody could answer this, I'm open ears.
One thing if they were taking some of our illegals off our hands, but I don't think they're going to be doing that.
She's got great arms.
Yeah. Did she
Look at
shoot
the
the
arms.
dog with her
She has
arms? Look at those guns.
She's
My
got
choking
God.
mouth.
You know what she should have said in her memoir? She should have said that the dog bit a child and mauled a child's face, and she had to take
no
the
one would have
dog out.
argued with that.
They'd been like, "Fucking shoot it 50 times," you know?
It's a weird thing. Well, and then her like to her damage control was like we all like, and again, this stuff happens on a farm. She's completely misreading her target audience. She's like, we just shot some horses that were like 25 and up, which is again, I'm sorry, that shit happens, but like that's not
25 for a horse is very old, and when their legs go out, their legs go out.
For sure, no, for
So-
sure. But that's not how you like smooth
like
over,
my legs are
the
about to go out.
situation, because these are people who again are not like that offends their sensibilities, you know. And I understand why it does. I grew up with horses. I understand like the kind of like emotional thing, but it's just she completely misunderstands like who she's speaking to and what they value. And
They see the
know, 'cause
dogs.
again,
They see the
Lauren,
dogs not as.
I don't mind that she's having a bad day
I
though.
can perfectly clear this up,
grew-
Ashton, for everybody. Here's the deal. They see the dogs like Mexicans and not like how we see dogs as like pets and beloved family members. They just see dogs as like you're on the farm working like the other Mexicans. You know what I mean? You're not going to work.
Right,
you're
but this is a
gonna get a job.
14-month-old puppy that ate a
It's
chicken.
a
Like
little
they're gonna
young.
do that. Like, why was a 14-month-old puppy in the chicken coop to begin with? Like, they're gonna attack the chickens and eat them.
I don't
Like,
think the
a dog
chickens
is
were
not.
in a coop.
It was like a bird dog of some sort, I believe.
Why
Like, it
the
was
hell would you have a bird hunting dog around chickens? That's just dumb
I don't
on
know
their
the full
part.
story, to be honest.
Just
I've read
dumb
the
on. No.
the excerpt.
It'd be one thing if they had. It'd be one thing if they had, like, let's say, like a dog, right? And the dog mauled like a cattle or like it caused serious issues with other dogs or a person. But if you got a bird dog hanging around with other birds and they're basically bred to hunt birds, that is on you being stupid. Like, that is a dog that is bred to hunt birds and you're letting them be with all of your chickens? Come on. Like, that's their fault, not the dog's fault.
American by birth, Southern by the grace of God.
It was a weird thing to include in the book. It was a weird thing to have as like the featured excerpts. And again, it's a complete misread of the target audience and how people would react to it, which means that she's not a good politician. She really isn't.
Idiot.
I used to
I think it's a bad farm story. If you
part
put
of
a
it,
bird
part of
dog
being a good
with
politician
chickens,
is knowing how to like schmooze.
True.
That is
She's a bad farmer.
I'm not
a
terribly
huge
offended
moose.
by that happening, but like I know that I would never tell that story had it happened to me, because like I know that other people are not going to receive it well. I would just let that one go.
You know what?
You guys want to know something inhumane I did once?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tell
we
us.
do.
This is a
Okay,
safe
so
space.
I used to have this hamster named Hamlet Burger.
no.
She was amazing. No, she was the best hamster ever. And I would call it Hamster TV. We had her for 3 years, and she was in this.
I remember. I was over your
Hamlet
house.
Burger. She was
Yes.
the freaking best. And my
Hamster
cats
TV.
loved her, and she was just awesome. Because they would just like watch her in the little TV. Anyway, she
It was
passed away.
tiny.
Yeah,
It was,
but
she was like this big.
she passed away peacefully in her sleep. So then I thought, you know what? Let me get 2 little mice from Petco. And
no.
they were these like black and white mice, and they look like little cows. And I thought, oh my God, they're so cute. So I put them in the little hamster tank. And
Dead hamster?
no, the dead hamster was gone. So I made a fresh tank. Anyway, so I
Okay.
had these mice for about 2 weeks. And let me tell you,
Did they eat each
hamster and
other?
mice, no, hamster and mice do not smell the same. Hamlet Burger's cage was always smelling good. Mice fucking stink. They're nasty. It's disgusting. It smells horrible. So I took these little mice, okay? I put them in a little box. I drove over to the Whataburger. There was a nice little like field. Not
I
field.
have
It was
to
like
say,
it was a
I have
bush.
no
Let
idea where
me
this
guess.
is going.
You opened the Whataburger and you released them into the restaurant.
I just put
And
them
then she shot
I
them
just
both.
put them into just a little bush and let them live free. Like, here you are, you're free now. Just go
They
get
They
them.
got scooped by a hawk. So
And you know what? I don't
They
give
did
a
not
fuck.
live.
I'm
They did
glad
not live
I
to
let
live.
them live free. And also there was a
You let them
dumpster
die.
nearby. There was a dumpster nearby so they could get little Whataburger snacky foods. But
Were these
oh my
mice
God.
from Petco by any chance?
They were immediately attacked.
Yes, and I will
killed.
never get mice again. I think a rat is like a cool friend, maybe because it's like bigger and it has like more of a
They're-
personality.
They're
But fucking
personable.
mice are nasty. They stink. It's just horrible. Try having a mouse for a week and don't see if you want to smash its little head. Okay?
Well,
You
no,
won't want it anymore.
Petco mice have serious problems. Actually, I don't think anyone should have them as pets. I don't think mice should be pets. Honestly, rats make great pets because they're
Yes.
personable.
And they
But
can
mice-
help you cook. Put it under your hat. They'll pull your hair and help you with the
Yes.
True.
recipes.
But mice actually have issues. The reason Petco has mice is strictly for feeding your snakes. So Lila, you
Or
technically didn't really do
tarantulas,
anything
baby
wrong
mice
because that was
with-
kind of their fate.
Yeah,
There's
I think
frogs that
they
eat
had a
little mice,
they had a
too.
really good life for a little bit, and I released them near a Whataburger. There was a dumpster; they could get snacks. They had a nice little bush to live in. They looked happy. They were like looking at me. They were like digging around. They kind of like waved goodbye. It was great.
What if Lila, one of those little mice made their way into the Whataburger and ruined the restaurant score? Like, what if you single-handedly brought
What
them
if
down to
they-
like a C?
What if somebody
It's gonna take
prank
more than a
called and
mouse
they
to take down a
fingered the
Whataburger.
mice?
Well, okay, and I have to tell you something else. I do not. I hate Petco. I hate PetSmarts. I do like to go look around, but some
But
of
it's
these
where the pets
employees.
go.
But no, some of these fucking employees out there. I was asking about adopting a hamster again, And then the lady was like, well, what kind of tank do you have? And I told her kind of tank. She's like, well, it needs this kind of tank. And I'm like, well, if it needs this kind of tank, why the fuck do you sell these small ass tanks here then? If that's not sufficient, why the fuck are you selling that then? Oh, a bird needs this kind of cage. Well, then why do you have this small ass bird cage? You guys shouldn't be selling that if that's not what it should be in.
They shouldn't, and they really shouldn't be, because the thing is, they know that people who often buy animals from them are very irresponsible. So the people who are cheap are going to buy those small cages anyway, but at least they're making money off of it. That's why.
Yeah. Dang.
I set my hamster free one time on the campus of Auburn University.
Where'd it go?
I don't know. It ate my other hamster.
That's what happened with mine.
I didn't want it anymore. I dumped it out on campus.
I had 2 girl gerbils in 5th grade, Sugar and Spice. And I think Sugar ate Spice. Yep. Yeah. Right. And my mom never or so my mom said, right? She never showed me the corpse. I just came back from school one day and she was like, oh, there was something terrible happened. But I had a friend.
Something terrible has happened here.
I had a friend, hamsters, they had Coco and Yum Yum. Coco ate Yum Yum. Always happens. Also, abolish food names for pets.
It's just Yum Yum lived up to her name. She was yummy.
Yeah, Mine's were named Kitty and Oswald, and Kitty ate Oswald's brain.
Ew,
I brain? No, he ate his head out, and so it was. So this was right around the time where I had discovered alcohol for the first time. So my roommate and I had come in. Right, we came in. We were living in the dorm. We had already snuck these hamsters in because they weren't allowed, and so I had just discovered Flip Cup and Natty for the first time. Life was good. We had our little hamsters. We came in. I want to look at Oswald because I love my little buddy, and we go to look over, and he is just this bloody thing in the corner, and so we had our guy friends come get Oswald to give him a proper burial, and then we came back upstairs, and Kitty is which is the he's twitchy and looking at us and and so again, this was maybe not the best thing to do. I understand. This is my Kristi Noem story. I took that little buddy outside and I set him free on the campus of Auburn University. This was 2009, 2008, 2009.
I still think all of these stories are way better than what she did.
I regret nothing, honestly.
Wait, you set the one free after he or she was murdered? His roommate
ate Oswald's brain.
I couldn't live with him. So how do you look him in the eye after that?
What did he do? Did he run off and did he wave at you?
You saw a side of him you didn't like, and you were
he scampered out. Yeah, no. Once
at least you didn't hit him with a paintball or a BB.
No, I mean. We gave him a chance. Maybe someone scooped him up. Maybe he got eaten by a cat. There's a lot of stray cats on that campus. I don't know.